Grace and peace, my friends, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. I love you. I miss you. I'm praying for you. Indeed, I'm praying for grace and peace. Pray that you have grace and peace through all of the anxiety-producing things that are happening in the world today. That your conversations with Jesus are growing deeper. That your relationship and your journey with Him are growing deeper. That we are growing in our compassionate, sacrificial love for others, that we are finding in a deeper way our identity as beloved children of God. In the end of John chapter 13, Jesus tells his disciples, I'm going to be going away and you can't come with me, but I want you to remember this. I want you to remember this. He talks about this in John quite often. He says, you need to love each other. You need to love each other the way that I love you. And that's the way that people are going to know you're Jesus followers. That love thing. And then Peter says, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with you, Jesus. I'll die for you. And Jesus is so gentle. He is so gentle. He just says, Peter, no, you're gonna deny me 3 times. And as many of us know, that's exactly what happens. And they're sitting around the fire, and Jesus is arrested, and Peter, for whatever reason, says, I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know that man. Maybe his fear of anxiety of what's going to be happening, of death or what have you. I guess that's why in the beginning of 14, Jesus says, look, you can trust me. You don't need to be troubled. You don't need to be afraid, because I'm making a place for you. Right? That no matter what happens, you are going to be with me. That I will live, and so will you. And I'm going to come back, and I'm never going to leave you as orphans, but I'm going to come back for you. You know the way. And that's when Thomas, some say doubting Thomas, speaks up, and he says, what are you talking about this way, Jesus? And Jesus, again, I can imagine, go kind of gently. It says, look, I'm the way, and I am the truth, and I am the life. I'm it. It's right here. It's not a system of beliefs as such, but it's me. It's my story. It's what I'm going through. It's what you've seen me go through. And in case you have a tendency, or we, or Dan, if I have a tendency to forget that, I'm sending the Holy Spirit. And he calls it the Spirit of Truth, that is going to live within me and is going to remind me of Jesus and who he is and his story. That is my story, and I just don't think it is a coincidence that Galatians 5:22, the fruit of the Spirit, and the first fruit is love. It's love, joy, and peace, and patience, and kindness, and goodness, and faithfulness, and gentleness, self-control. Oh my. And so through this, Jesus has been kind of telling me, Dan, maybe your anxiety or your fear of what might happen, of circumstances of death, you can trust me on that. I've got it. I've got that covered. And like with doubting Thomas after Jesus was resurrected, Jesus said, look, right here. Here it is. And Thomas went, boop, and touched him and said, oh, my Lord, my God. Dan, you can take that to the bank. But perhaps you need to become a bit more focused. You need to become a bit more, even in a positive, anxious way, that you need to start, again, being compassionately, sacrificially loving to others. How are you doing that? How are you putting that into practice? Because that's the mark of who we are, Dan, of Jesus people. And so somehow in my life, it's kind of, that's what I'm working through, is that I want that part of the mission to override this sense of any kind of anxiety or fear of what might happen to me, because Jesus has that covered. He's preparing a place for me. He loves me. But Dan, start that love thing, right? Keep that up, but grow deeper in that. Okay? So those are my thoughts for today on John. I'll get back with you. If any of this touches your heart or whatever, feel free to give me a text or what have you. Love to talk about it. Grace and peace. I love you. I'll see you. Bye-bye.